Your mind already knows the way, the quantum physics of abundance. Most people have been approaching abundance completely backwards. They search for techniques, strategies, and formulas outside themselves, desperately trying to manipulate reality into giving them what they want. They chase after manifestation like it's some elusive target, always moving just beyond their reach. If the reason manifestation feels so difficult is because we've fundamentally misunderstood where the power actually resides. What if the mind isn't a tool for finding abundance, but rather the very channel through which abundance naturally flows when we remove the blocks we've placed in its way? The struggle you've been experiencing isn't because you lack the ability to manifest, it's because you've been taught to look in all the wrong places for a power that already exists within you. At the heart of existence lies what quantum physicists call the quantum field, an infinite matrix of pure potential where every possibility already exists. This boundless field doesn't respond to what you want or what you're trying to achieve through action. It responds to who you are being on an energetic level. Most people approach abundance through effort, pushing, striving, working harder, doing more. But the quantum field doesn't operate on effort. It operates on resonance and frequency. When you align your energetic state with the frequency of abundance, you don't need to chase it. You become a natural conduit for it. This is the fundamental shift that changes everything. Abundance isn't something you need to create or find. It's a state of being that allows what already exists to flow through you unimpeded. The observer effect in quantum physics reveals something profound about reality. Particles exist as waves of potential until they're observed, at which point they collapse into definite positions. This same principle governs abundance in your life. When you observe the world through the lens of abundance, with expectation and alignment, you collapse those waves of potential into experiences that reflect abundance. But when you observe from a place of scarcity and lack, you collapse those same waves into more experiences of limitation. The difference isn't in the external world, but in how you're observing it. I'd love to hear your experiences with abundance in the comments below. Have you noticed how your perspective shifts your reality? If you're finding value in these insights, subscribe to join our community of abundance creators who are learning to access the natural flow that already exists within them. Think of your relationship with abundance like tuning an old television. Many people spend their lives frantically adjusting the antenna, trying to clear up a fuzzy picture of the prosperity they want to experience. Sometimes they catch glimpses of clarity, a financial windfall, an unexpected opportunity, before static returns. Here's the impossibility. You cannot force a television to display a clear picture by wanting it more intensely or by constantly adjusting the antenna. The elegant solution is simple. When you tune the internal frequency to precisely match the broadcast frequency, the picture becomes crystal clear without effort. When you're internally aligned with abundance, you don't have to chase it or manipulate it into your experience. That's what quantum abundance is, not pursuing what seems separate from you, but tuning into the frequency where it already exists as part of you. Neville Goddard understood this principle deeply when he taught that we must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He recognized that abundance manifests not when we long for it, but when we embody the feeling state of already experiencing it. Joe Dispenza takes this understanding further through his teaching that we must create such a clear internal experience of our desired reality that the body believes it's already happened. He calls this becoming familiar with a future potential. Abraham Hicks describes this same principle as getting into the vortex, that state of vibrational alignment where abundance flows naturally into your experience. These teachers, using different terminology and coming from different backgrounds, are all pointing to the same fundamental truth. Abundance manifests not when you chase it, but when you embody the frequency of already being abundant. Why do so many people struggle with this simple truth? Because simplicity terrifies the ego. The ego craves complexity, techniques, steps, formulas, things it can control and master. Our culture has conditioned us to believe that value comes through struggle, that worthiness must be earned through hard work, that abundance must be pursued and captured. We've been taught that the path to having more requires doing more. But here lies the great paradox at the heart of manifestation. The more you pursue abundance as something separate from yourself, the more you energetically affirm its absence in your life. By constantly seeking, you broadcast the frequency of not having, and the quantum field, Responding to your energetic signature rather than your wishes simply returns more experiences that match that frequency of not enough. The version of reality where you already experience boundless abundance isn't some distant future waiting to be created. It already exists right now in the quantum field. Quantum physics describes this through superposition, the principle that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. Your abundant reality exists in superposition with your current reality, along with countless other possibilities. Your task isn't to create abundance through force or effort. It's to collapse the wave function through your focused attention and aligned frequency. You're not trying to make abundance happen. You're allowing the abundant potential that already exists to manifest in your experience. This shift from forcing to allowing, from creating to collapsing, transforms the pursuit of abundance from exhausting struggle into natural expression. Many people approach abundance mechanically. They recite wealth affirmations, create vision boards with images of luxury, practice gratitude journaling focused on money, all while their internal frequency remains tuned to scarcity. These practices aren't inherently wrong, but they often become empty rituals, disconnected from any real energetic shift. If you're affirming "I am wealthy" while feeling panic about your bills, you're broadcasting contradictory signals to the field. If you're visualizing financial freedom while feeling unworthy of prosperity, you're creating energetic interference. This is why so many people say, "I tried those abundance techniques, but they don't work for me." There's a profound difference between saying you're abundant and actually being abundant. Affirmations without embodiment are just empty words. Visualization without emotional alignment is just wishful thinking. The science behind abundance manifestation is more substantial than most realize. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains that every thought produces an electrical signal in the brain, and every feeling produces a magnetic field through the heart. Together, they create your electromagnetic signature, the unique frequency you broadcast to the quantum field. This isn't metaphysical speculation. It's based on measurable electromagnetic fields produced by your brain and heart. Your thoughts and feelings aren't just subjective experiences. They're actual energy, with specific frequencies that interact with the field around you. This is why the quantum field doesn't respond to your wishes or desires, or even your words. It responds to your electromagnetic signature, your state of being. The field doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are vibrationally broadcasting. Consider this practical example: manifesting financial abundance. Many people try to attract more money while constantly focusing on their current financial limitations. They check their bank accounts multiple times daily with anxiety, worry about pending bills, feel tension when spending, and compare themselves to those with greater wealth. Then they wonder why their abundance affirmations aren't working. This is energetic incoherence, saying one thing while being another. To manifest financial abundance, you must embody the frequency of abundance, the security, peace, generosity, and expansiveness that characterize true prosperity. When someone in genuine abundance looks at their resources, they feel gratitude rather than fear, regardless of the amount. They make decisions from a place of opportunity rather than scarcity. This coherence between thought and feeling is what allows abundance to flow unimpeded. Abundance manifestation connects directly to neuroplasticity, your brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. When you consistently practice embodying the emotional state of abundance, you're actually rewiring your brain to match that reality. Through mental rehearsal, vividly imagining experiences of abundance with all your senses while generating the corresponding emotions, you create new neural pathways as if you've actually had those abundant experiences. Research in neuroplasticity shows that the brain doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one. This is how elite athletes improve performance through visualization and how people heal faster when they imagine robust health. When done correctly, your body begins to believe the abundant future you desire has already happened, producing corresponding biochemical changes that align your physical state with your imagined prosperity. Manifesting abundance isn't about begging the universe for more or trying to force reality to match your desires. It's not about manipulating external circumstances to increase your resources. Instead, it's about finding the version of yourself that already experiences the abundance you seek. It's about shifting your sense of identity so completely that prosperity becomes the natural expression of who you are. The universe isn't withholding abundance until you say the right words or perform the right rituals. It's simply reflecting back your dominant frequency. This reframe changes everything. You stop asking, "How can I get more?" and start asking, "Who would I be if I already had everything I need?" The focus shifts from external acquisition to internal resonance, from scarcity to sufficiency, from grasping to allowing. This is why resonance is a far more useful concept than effort when discussing abundance. Let me explain quantum superposition in simple terms. Imagine that every possible version of your life exists simultaneously in a state of potential. The version where you're financially abundant, where opportunities flow easily, where you're surrounded by prosperity, it already exists. These possibilities aren't distant futures waiting to be created. They're present potentials waiting to be collapsed into experience through your focused observation. In quantum mechanics, it's the act of observation that causes wave functions to collapse into particles with definite properties. Similarly, it's your consistent attention, coupled with the corresponding emotional state, that collapses potential realities into your lived experience. This isn't a metaphor, it's a description of how reality functions at its most fundamental level. The quality of your attention, where you place it and how you charge it emotionally, determines which potential reality becomes your actual experience. One of the greatest obstacles to manifesting abundance is the lack of coherence between the brain and heart. Most people live with mental chaos and emotional conflict. Their thoughts pull toward abundance, while their feelings remain anchored in scarcity. They think about what they want while feeling what they fear. This creates contradictory frequencies that cancel each other out. Research from the HeartMath Institute shows that when the heart and brain enter a state of coherence, when they produce harmonized, synchronized rhythms, the body's systems function optimally, and our electromagnetic field becomes more powerful and organized. This coherence is what allows clear communication with the quantum field. Mixed signals create confused results. Clear, coherent signals create clear manifestations. Most people never achieve the abundance they desire because they're broadcasting static rather than a clear frequency. Your emotional state produces specific biochemicals that affect every cell in your body. When you feel abundant, your brain releases dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. When you feel gratitude and connection, you produce oxytocin. These aren't just subjective experiences, they're actual chemical messengers that change your physical state and, by extension, your electromagnetic signature. Negative emotions like financial anxiety and scarcity consciousness produce stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which create an entirely different physical and energetic state. This biochemistry affects how you perceive reality and how you interact with the quantum field. Your emotional state becomes your point of attraction because it determines your overall frequency. This is why trying to manifest abundance from a place of fear or desperation rarely works. The biochemistry of those states creates an electromagnetic signature that attracts more experiences that match that frequency. Maintaining consistent alignment with the frequency of abundance presents one of the greatest challenges in manifestation. Most people are energetically inconsistent. They manage to align with abundance briefly, only to snap back to their habitual scarcity consciousness. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to check if it's growing. The constant shifting between states creates confusion in the field and delays manifestation. This is where practice becomes essential. Just as you wouldn't expect to play a musical instrument perfectly without dedicated practice, you shouldn't expect to maintain perfect energetic consistency without developing that muscle. Energetic consistency doesn't mean never experiencing negative emotions. It means returning to alignment more quickly each time you're thrown off. The field responds not to momentary states, but to your dominant frequency over time. When your vibrational state stabilizes at the frequency of abundance, reality begins responding in remarkable ways. Synchronicities increase. You notice meaningful coincidences that seem orchestrated. You receive intuitive nudges that lead you to exactly what you need. Opportunities appear that you couldn't have logically orchestrated. People who can help you seem to enter your life at precisely the right moment. Resources become available when you need them. Ideas and solutions come to you with surprising clarity. These aren't magical occurrences. They're the natural reorganization of the field in response to your stabilized frequency. The quantum field is constantly responding to your state of being, arranging circumstances and events that match your dominant vibration. This responsiveness has always been happening. You're just now consciously participating in the process rather than creating by default. At this point, you've transitioned from positive thinking about abundance to energetic authorship of abundance. You've crossed the bridge from possibility to embodiment. You're no longer just imagining what could be. You're living from what already is at an energetic level. This shift is subtle but profound. Your perception of reality fundamentally changes because you're tuning into different aspects of the quantum field. Opportunities and resources that you would have previously overlooked now become apparent because they match your new frequency. It's not that the external world is necessarily changing overnight, though it can. It's that your perception and interaction with reality are transformed. You begin experiencing the version of reality that matches who you're being rather than who you've been. This is the moment when abundance shifts from something you pursue to something you experience naturally. Let's be honest, this is where most people get stuck. They intellectually understand the concepts we've discussed, but they struggle with the actual embodiment of abundance. Not because they don't believe it's possible, but because they don't know how to bridge the gap between thinking about abundance and becoming someone who experiences abundance naturally. There's a profound difference between thinking about wealth and feeling wealthy, between contemplating prosperity and embodying prosperity, between visualizing success and inhabiting success. The mind can understand concepts, but manifestation happens through the entire being, mind, body, emotions, and energy. This is why people can read dozens of books on abundance and still struggle to create real financial change. The missing piece isn't more information, it's embodiment. The full-body, multi-dimensional experience of being abundant even before external circumstances have caught up with this internal reality. To fully align with the frequency of abundance, you need to access high-frequency emotional states consistently. Research in neuroscience shows that certain emotional states produce gamma-wave coherence in the brain, the fastest brainwave frequency associated with peak performance, heightened awareness, and integration of multiple brain functions. When your brain and heart achieve this coherent gamma state, your nervous system becomes highly receptive to new patterns. Old neural pathways, the physical basis of scarcity consciousness and limiting beliefs about money, can be more easily rewired. Your body becomes more responsive to your conscious intentions rather than your unconscious programming. This state of coherence is what spiritual traditions have called enlightenment, flow state, or being in the zone. It's a neurophysiological condition where abundance manifestation becomes effortless because your entire system is unified in its frequency rather than fragmented into conflicting vibrations. You've probably felt that your financial manifestations take too long, that the gap between setting an intention for abundance and seeing tangible results seems insurmountable at times. You may have wondered if you're doing something wrong, if perhaps you're not meant to experience prosperity, or if abundance only flows to certain people. I want you to know that you've always been much closer than you think. The gap has never been between you and abundance. It's been between your habitual state of being and the state of being that matches the abundance you desire. You are not broken. You are not behind. You don't lack the ability to manifest prosperity. You've simply been taught an approach that works against the fundamental principles of the quantum field. The power to create abundance has always been within you. You've just been accessing it in ways that create resistance rather than flow. Let this be the moment when you stop trying to find abundance and start remembering that you are abundance. The version of you that experiences limitless prosperity already exists. You don't need to create it. You need to embody it. Imagine stepping fully into that version of yourself right now, not as a future possibility, but as your present reality. Feel the shift in your posture, your breathing, your facial expression. Notice how different thoughts become available to this abundant version of you. Experience how this version of you perceives the same circumstances you're currently facing. This isn't pretending. It's accessing a quantum potential that already exists. This moment of conscious embodiment is a quantum event, a point where you can jump timelines by shifting your dominant frequency. Your power isn't in what you do, it's in who you are being as you do it. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to type 777 in the comments below. This number sequence represents divine alignment and perfect timing with the abundant flow of the universe. It's a vibrational code that signals your readiness to shift from seeking abundance to being abundance, from chasing prosperity to allowing it. When you comment with this number, you're not just engaging with a video, you're declaring your alignment with the frequency of effortless prosperity. And as our community grows, this collective intention amplifies the field for everyone. There's power in numbers, not just metaphorically, but energetically. Your comment becomes part of a collective frequency that supports everyone who encounters it. It's a small action that creates ripples in the quantum field, affecting possibilities far beyond what you might imagine. There is nothing to wait for. All versions of reality already exist in the quantum field. The version where you experience boundless abundance, financial freedom, and prosperity consciousness isn't a future possibility. It's a present potential, existing alongside countless others. Abundance isn't something you create through force or strategy. It's something you tune into through alignment. Think of parallel timelines or vibrationally adjacent worlds. Your consciousness is constantly shifting between these potentials based on your dominant frequency. When you change your state of being, you naturally shift into the timeline that matches that state. This isn't magical thinking, it's how reality functions at the quantum level. Your consciousness is the tuning mechanism that determines which potential reality becomes your experienced reality. You cannot fake this process. You cannot pretend to feel abundant while anchoring yourself in scarcity consciousness. You cannot affirm prosperity while embodying unworthiness. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words or even your conscious intentions. It responds to your actual frequency, the sum total of your conscious and unconscious patterns. This is why surface-level practices often fail to produce significant financial results. The quantum field isn't fooled by ritualistic behavior that isn't accompanied by genuine energetic shift. Your power lies not in what you say or do, but in the vibration underlying your thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is both challenging and liberating. Challenging because it requires genuine inner transformation, and liberating because it means you don't have to perfect your external actions. You only need to shift your inner state, and appropriate action will follow naturally. I invite you to make this more than just a video you watched. Make it a portal of frequency that you stepped through. Let this be a marker in your journey where you shifted from seeking abundance to being abundance, from chasing prosperity to embodying it. You are not alone in this journey. We are a field, a wave, a movement of consciousness evolving together. The very fact that you were drawn to this message is evidence that you're already aligned with its frequency. Remember that abundance isn't something you learn, it's something you remember. It's your natural state of being to create reality through your consciousness. You are not becoming abundant. You already are abundant at your core. You are not learning to create prosperity. You're remembering that you've been creating all along. The only question is whether you'll create consciously or by default. If you found value in this message, please share it with others who might benefit, subscribe to join our community, and most importantly, begin living as the version of yourself who has already manifested the abundance you desire.